welcome to another episode of the Art Patient Project. Thank you for joining me on a very cold Sunday, the last Sunday in November, and we've just had a very snowy weekend. Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about an experiment that you've never heard of that went on. This experiment went on in the time of the Spanish flu in 1918. Now, if you look through medical history, you'll come across the Spanish flu as a one of the first pandemics, and medical historians, lots of them, will tell you how great the vaccines were. I'm going to give you a very different story, and I'm going to come back to the fact that you can't catch things and how it was proven during this time. It's an important time to remember, guys, because the world apparently had just come out of World War I. 1914, 1918. It was called the Spanish flu because apparently the outbreak was in Spain, but again, it's happened worldwide. I mean, I'm going to give a case of Boston and a case of San Francisco, where the army were all vaccinated and lay in their beds dying with the Spanish flu. Again, even though they'd had the vaccine, it turned out that this was the first time they ever put chloroform in a vaccine, see. And once you know that, you realise that the chloroform gets converted by the liver into phosgene, and phosgene is a poisonous gas that in World War I, this actual war the world had just come out of, it's what poison people see on the battlefield. The liver converted chloroform. It'd be, I think it'd be another 60 years before chloroform got banned, before they stopped using it. Can you see what I mean here? It would I think it was like 60 years when the British Navy found out that lemons every morning stop people getting scurvy, vitamin C. You know, hence the name limeys. And it took 60 years for it to come about in the Navy. It's unbelievable, and the arguing people do, you know. But anyway, there's an experiment that took part in the Spanish flu, and this experiment, when they went to the local jail and they got some sailors who'd been disruptive and fighting and that, and they were led into the wards of the dying, and they got 60 sailors on the promise that if they did this experiment they'd be free from jail. So they got the 60 sailors and took them into the wards, and they got them to sit on the bed, guys, with people who lay there shivering and dying, and got them to actually breathe into their faces take their breath from the people in the beds, lean over them and actually swallow, get the guy in the bed to clear his lungs if he could, and actually swallow after he cleared his lungs. They even had mucus. The prisoners had mucus put in their eyes, in the mouth, or on the side of the bed for at least each prisoner did 10 of the people in the beds, of the patients, or the so-called Spanish flu. Not one of the prisoners, guys, caught anything. Not one of the prisoners caught anything. You don't catch things. It's impossible. I told you in that video about Koch's postulates and a virus cannot live outside of itself. You're the host. It's special to you. It keeps you alive. Nobody else. It's not interchangeable. But anyway, not one of the 60 prisoners fell ill. Of course, that crucial experiment never gets told to people, see. You never get to know about these experiments, do you? And this kind of thing goes on all the time. Now, that brings us back to now, doesn't it, with the clot shot and what's causing the clots. And like I said to you, I know immediately, of course I do. And these people are arguing against it. And not a day goes by, guys, where you look on YouTube and there's a footballer dropped down on the pitch. You know, some serious athletes dropping down. On YouTube every day people are talking about side effects. But anyway, going back 100 years, it was the first time a vaccine had chloroform in it. And at the time, they were hailing chloroform as brilliant. You know, they'd knock you out with chloroform. Dentists were starting to use it everywhere. It wasn't till they realised it damages the liver, it gives you liver failure, and that comes in lung failure and all the other shebang, doesn't it? What I keep saying. But the prisoner, the Navy prisoners experiment was repeated. It was done in San Francisco, guys, and it was repeated in Boston. And all the prisoners became free due to the experiment. They never caught anything, and each prisoner had 10 people who were dying around them from apparently catching the Spanish flu. It shows you, doesn't it? This is why some people say this is a 100-year curse, see, because look at the dates. Look at the dates. You know, that's why people talk about the 100-year curse. But you can see anyway that it was only the vaccinated who were dropping down dead. See. Thank you very much for watching. More videos soon.